Welcome back, everyone, to Misremembering, a Mandela Effect podcast. Wow, podcast. My name is Billy.
I'm Scott.
Welcome, Scott. I'm excited
What's
for...
a podcast?
I don't know what's a podcast. You know, it's, again, technical difficulties getting this going. That's all right. We're all good. How are you today, Scott?
I'm great. Doing very well.
That's
I just
good.
realized when I bring up a web page, it makes my face look super bright.
Oh yeah, I can see that. It looks it looks like when you're in the ring and like the screen gets really like she's Samara, I think is her name, right? She's coming out of the screen at you. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I don't like that.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited. We're recording this a few days late. I can give my reasons if we all choose to do so, but for those who don't care, you can skip ahead 20 seconds. For those who do care, you can listen. We usually record on Mondays. Monday, we try to start recording, and my webcam just crapped out. So we pushed it to Tuesday, which was yesterday, and my dog got out, and we had to go find him. And that took a long time, longer than it needed to be.
Did find him.
We did find him.
Though.
Yep,
okay.
We did find him, and unfortunately, during that whole time, we also had DoorDash delivered, which isn't unfortunate. Ooh, sorry about that. We didn't have, it's not unfortunate we were DoorDash, but when it delivered, it wasn't our order. It was some other person's order. Yeah, well, yeah. So, the dog gets out. My wife is running around the neighborhood looking for it. My kids are on their bikes running around. DoorDash shows up, and they're like, "Hey, DoorDash." And I was like, "I'm sorry, I'm not actually waiting for you here. Like, that's creepy. I'm waiting to see if my kids or my wife have found my dog." And I just walked down the end of the street, and you just happened to pull up. And she was like, "Oh, no, not a big deal." She's like, "Bill?" And, my name is Billy. So I was like, "Yeah, Bill. I'm really sorry, though. I got to go." I just said it, like we paid for it, obviously. Like, I just said it on the car. I'm going to see you later. Bye. So I run off, come back. My daughter's holding the bag of Chipotle that we ordered, and it's like just absolutely destroyed. Like the bottom of the bag fell out, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" So she hands us this like bag that's absolutely destroyed, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, "You didn't order a burrito. We both got bowls." And she was like, "Oh, maybe they just made mine a bowl or a burrito or whatever." And I was like, "This is not the right order. I'm so certain." And she looks at it, not the right order. It just happens to be that my name is Billy, but on our DoorDash account, it's under my wife's name, Maggie. So I wasn't thinking because the dog is out on the loose. She's like, "Bill, yeah, that's me. Yep, just throw that over there.
Yeah.
Thanks." So it's frustrating. We're trying to get into hold of Chipotle, and they're like, "Talk to DoorDash." And we're like, "Well, we ordered through the Chipotle app. You hire DoorDash to actually make your deliveries for you. So, no, I'm talking to you."
Yeah.
So I end up driving to Chipotle, which is the opposite of why we DoorDashed it or delivered it, because we didn't have the time to go do this. So I drive to the store, get our order. I take the original that wasn't ours back, and they're like, "We're just going to throw it away. You can keep it." And I was like, "No, if I was going to keep it, I would have just eaten it." But no one eats sofritas, so that's why I'm bringing it back. That's the order we got was sofritas. So whatever. I mean, I came home and it was like we ate. It was late. Not a big deal. But we got a refund, full refund. So so we're good. I mean, we technically, through all the hassle last night, we got the dog back, got our food finally, but we made money, or I guess
that's
got a
not
free,
bad.
or just got a free meal, however you look at it. So
yeah. What an adventure!
Yeah,
you were on yesterday.
Yeah. So now here we are. We're finally recording, and for those who watch on our YouTube channel, we have completely changed the setup. the streaming app that we used to actually record and set up all of the stuff to make it look like it does was awful, terrible. I think that's why my webcam wasn't working, was because of that application. So I got a new one, and because we got the new one, we have new webcam set up. As you can see, I mean, Scott can't see, unfortunately, but he'll see once I send the video to him later. But it's set up a little differently, staggered. The picture does seem to be clearer because we were using Skype before, and now we're using this, so it looks much clearer. I think it looks really good. So I'm excited.
That's great. I have to take your word for it right now.
Take my word for it right now. When you see it later, you be the judge. But
I'm sure it'll be great.
So we're 6 minutes in, and we haven't said the name of the episode because of all the drama that was going on in my life. So this week, we are going to be covering the next Mandela Effect topic of the song 1977, We Are the Champions, recorded by Queen. Now, very popular song. Usually, when you hear this song, you hear We Will Rock You, and then it rolls straight into We Are the Champions. I feel like that's how I, like in a playlist, sometimes they're listed as one song, depending on which application you use, Spotify, Apple Music, whatever. So how many times have you heard this song, Scott, you think?
In my life?
Yeah. I mean, it's a ridiculous ballpark, but just ballpark it.
50. Maybe more.
Oh, God, Scott. 50 times?
I don't know. I feel like I hear this song monthly.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
My webcam has frozen, everyone. It has not fixed itself.
This is incredible.
We're not going to stop recording. I'm just going to...
yeah.
I'm going to hide it, and then I'm going to try to bring it back, and if I can't, then I can't.
It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. I might just show Scott. I'm just going to show Scott. It'll be great. You're going to see some things moving around on the screen, but it is what it is.
That's fine.
I have
It's okay.
Oh,
yeah.
That's wrong. Okay, we're good. So, 50. I mean,
we're back. Is 50 low?
50's low. I've probably seen 15 movies that have had this song in it, and I've probably seen those 15 movies. I mean, of those 15, let's say I've seen 5 of them 2 times.
Okay.
And of
That's fair.
Of those 5, I've probably seen 3, 20, because there's one, Mighty Ducks, I've seen a lot.
Yes.
And that's just from movies. That's not listening to it in a playlist. That's not going to a game where they play it. That's not just like...
Okay.
I'm saying hundreds...
If I factor in these things,
yeah,
I agree with you. 50's like on the radio or playing it on, like, in my car. I've chosen to play this song.
Yeah, okay.
I don't like to play the same song. I'm very finicky. I hate hearing the same song like multiple times within a week. Maybe even a month. I like to switch it up. I get tired of songs very fast. So I try to, switch it up. But in movies, this is in every movie. Every movie that's about a sport probably has this song on the soundtrack.
Yeah. Yeah,
I've seen a lot of those.
I'm saying all time, I probably listened to it 50 times last year just in my car with my kids because they love it. So,
okay, well,
I mean, I'm going to go ahead and say I've probably heard it 1,000 or more times. Easy.
Wow.
I'm not old, but I'm also not young, so.
That's a lot.
It is a lot. But in We Are the Champions, there is the line, when they finish, we are the champions, no time for losers, because we are the champions, dun dun, of the world, right?
Absolutely.
Partially right. Because the Mandela Effect for this is at the very end of the song, they say, we are the champions, dun dun, and That's where the song ends. They don't say of the world. It just is like a cliffhanger almost of the song. Now, in the middle of the song, when they do that, they do say of the world. Freddie Mercury sings it. They roll in to the bridge or whatever it is after that. The next verse, whatever it is. And that's why people believe that that's how the song actually ends. So there we have the Mandela Effect. I personally feel like whether I listen to this or like with my kids or not, and I'm singing out loud, I don't know that I've ever noticed it, but I think when the song ends, I'm probably singing of the world either in my head or out loud, never noticing that the song is not singing along with me. So, what do you think?
Well, I mean, just, obviously, of the world is clearly in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's interesting because at first when we talked about this, I was hell bent on going, no, this is ridiculous because of the world is 100% absolutely in the song. The end, however, you do throw me off a little bit because I'm trying to remember, like, well, do I hear them say it at the end? And I don't know the answer to that. But I will say this, it makes sense to say it at the end. It does not make sense not to say it at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Leaving it open like that doesn't make sense to me.
Sure. It's almost like maybe the song got deleted, like part of the song got deleted, because when you hear it and it's not there, and when you're listening for it and it doesn't show up, it'll rock your world because you're expecting it to be there. And all of a sudden it's just not. So I would agree with you. It from like a writing standpoint, from a production standpoint, why does it not end that way? I don't know.
I'm looking at your screen here,
Mm-hmm.
and I have to say this, and perhaps this is a hot take, but I've got to say it. Okay, in this picture of Freddie Mercury,
Mm-hmm.
He looks like something out of my nightmare. Like this version of Freddie Mercury chasing you down the street,
Mustacheless.
You're right, mustacheless, just complete. Like, I don't even know what's going on with his face. I know he has AIDS, so I'm sorry, but I think he has AIDS. He had AIDS.
Not when this came out.
I don't know. At some point he had AIDS. I've never seen the movie.
Of course, at some point he had AIDS. Yes.
I don't want to see the movie. I like Queen a lot. They're one of my favorite bands. But I can't say that I'm intimately, knowledgeable about Freddie Mercury. But this picture that I'm looking at right now, I'm going to be honest with you, it's scaring me.
It's a little frightening.
Yeah. What's going on with him?
I think, again, maybe it's the idea that, like, we're so used to seeing him with a mustache that
without it,
it adds like a weird, and his hair is a little bit longer, I think, than... Yeah, it feels almost like Botox too. Like it's been pulled back.
I didn't have Botox.
No, but I'm saying like that's kind of what it looks like. Cause like it's been like pulled back a little bit, and he's wearing this weird black and white spandex. Yeah. Okay. Well, not
with his chest hair hanging out. How many people are mad right? No one's mad. No one disagrees with us.
No, I don't think anyone disagrees with us. But that's not the Mandela Effect we're talking about. So let's refocus ourselves here. So now, when we originally talked about doing this episode, you got excited because you texted me and you said, I think I can debunk this. I was intrigued.
Yes.
Because how do you debunk a Mandela Effect? I thought we were about to have proof. But before you and I talked about it, I've done this Mandela Effect. Like, I've told people about it. I've pulled it up on Spotify. I've played it. It's not been there. So when you said debunked, I was like, are you going to have proof that, like, Queen came out and said, yeah, we changed it? Like, that's what I was expecting, but that's not what you said.
No.
So I'll let you explain, because this is your find.
It's way less exciting than that. So I did my own little research and I started asking people as I get really bright. This is so white, this screen. So I started asking people like, hey, what do do you remember this? And do you remember the saying of the world? And of course everyone does because it makes sense. However, it turns out, and I have to thank this random person on Quora, which Norton tells me is not a safe website. So I went here anyways. But somebody named James Pick, who is a BA Gold card holder. I don't know what that is. But he goes into a lot of detail about this, and he explains that there's multiple versions of the song. So, there's a greatest hits. He says that the most common version of the song that people hear, especially today, I don't even know if my camera is still on, it says it comes from the Queen's Greatest Hits album.
That makes sense. I think that's what I listen to.
I think that's what I've listened to. It says if you bought this on CD or downloaded it, your version does not end with an extra of the world. However, if you bought that same album on vinyl, then it does. So we're not even talking about like, oh, okay, this is multiple, whatever, like on the original album, it says it. No, this is just the greatest hits. There are two different versions of the song on the greatest hits. One CD or download doesn't have it. But if you get the vinyl, it does. So that's interesting. It doesn't make sense, but I guess it has to do with the USA version and a version that was released in Europe. And the version that was released in Europe, I guess, does have the of the world on the end of it. And the vinyl version of the greatest hits album has of the world because it's the European version. So if we ask them, so again, I'm going to bring your German friend into this, or your friend that lives in Germany. I don't think they're German.
They are, yeah.
Yet again, another instance where perhaps asking them to find the Queen Greatest Hits album and playing their version of it, and they may have Of the World at the end. So this might just be a continental difference again here.
It could be. So, yes, just to backtrack very quickly, I've not heard back from my friend who lives in Germany about the Berenstain Bears. So, yes, this will be one I'll follow up with him and say, hey, what's up? Give me the Berenstain Bears info I need. Also, the song We Are the Champions, how does it end for you? And see what he says.
Yes.
In my research of this, you're seeing my screen, Scott. So we can all be on the same page here. What I found was that when they recorded live versions, on for CD or vinyl or tape or whatever, and now it's on YouTube, that does include We Are Of the World at the end. And to me, that kind of makes sense because live, like, people change things in a live performance. Like, not like they completely sing a different, like lyrics or whatever, but they do things different, right? Like, they feed off the crowd and they give them what they want. And so I could easily see how, okay, you say it at the end, but, like, we're talking the recorded version that I didn't see them live. I wasn't born before 88, so I didn't see them live. So I wouldn't have been able to see this for myself. But everything I've heard personally that's like a recording outside of YouTube has not included that. So it's interesting that you say that what you found shows that it could be a continental difference. I'm going to go ahead and say it's not a continental difference in that when the stacks of vinyl were created, that is when we had this parallel universe thing. And those stacks of vinyl, they accidentally didn't remove part of the end. So it's there on vinyl. But all the digital, all the CD, the parallel universe wiped that out. So that's my theory. I don't want to believe there are multiple versions of this song. Why? Going back to the Berenstain Bears thing, what's the reason for having multiple versions? Why?
Well, I agree. I don't think it's so much of a version thing as much as somehow the American, I guess it is a version, but somehow it got cut off. Obviously, it says of the world, they just cut it off because when you listen to the song, it does sound like it ends rather abruptly, like almost like they cut it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking they just cut it, but I don't know why they cut it unless this is a theory. I have nothing to back this up. I'm making this up. But when you play a song on radio, it's possible that your song has a time, like there's a limit of time. Like you can't play a 10-minute song on the radio. So you have to hit like 4 minutes or something, or 4 minutes and 30 seconds or something like that. So in order to play both We Will Rock You and We Are the Champions together, perhaps you have to have that threshold met. And so they had to cut like 5 seconds off the song or 3 seconds off the song or whatever to hit some threshold. I don't know if that's true, but it would make sense. But then I also think, have you ever heard Paradise by the Dashboard Light, the Meatloaf song? Because that song's like 30 minutes long.
I was gonna say that's the long one, right?
And they played that on the radio. I don't know if they cut stuff out of it, but they certainly played that on the radio. When I was young.
I mean, so good question. So I'd have to look into it, but Freebird, when it came out,
There you go.
I wonder if the solo was a part of the original recording, or if sometime at a concert that Leonard Skinner had, they just went off on a solo, and people loved it. And so then, in like a greatest hits, they added the solo to it, which everyone is now in love with the solo. It's in Guitar Hero. Everyone tries to figure out how to play the solo. Everyone screams Freebird at every concert because of the solo.
Yeah.
So that's interesting, the whole timing thing. But that's so obscure for this song, We Are the Champions, to be cut off seconds, like 3 to 5 seconds, because it wouldn't fit in their time frame. That seems a little far-fetched to me. But I could get behind it potentially.
I don't know. I mean, it's just trying to come up with some explanation for why they would cut those two words out if they did. Like going down the theory that, okay, yeah, they cut that out. But why would they cut that out? It makes no sense otherwise. Like, I don't quite understand why you would make that decision. And if we go down the parallel universe route, then I find it interesting that in almost every single one of these Mandela Effect cases, we find some sort of artifact that somehow has existed through the universes. And with the Berenstain Bears, it's like one video that one man has made it through. And then here we have, all of the albums, the vinyl albums, somehow.
Yeah.
Where is this rift? And why am I so pixelated on my camera? I am looking at this, and it looks like I am I've got film grain.
You're not too bad in what's on my screen, but yeah,
Okay.
It's not when you're when you're larger, it definitely is a little grainy, but it's all right.
It's getting grainier and grainier. I just don't understand what's. Eventually, I'm going to fade into some sort of just pixels everywhere. This is the weirdest thing.
Yeah. So here's an interesting thing. So this person claims that this is the original record, the first release of this record, and the record has the lyrics on it. So when you look at it, the song title, We Are the Champions, and then at the very bottom, the last 3 lines of the song are Of the World. Now, again, this would fit your theory that this is an original, so European version likely, which means that this is going to have Of the World. But It is in print. It does not look at all like this is something that was altered to me, because it's a picture that someone took of the record, so you can even see like the flash in the middle. So I don't know. It feels like that's genuine. And maybe it's not genuine. Maybe I'm being duped. but I don't know. I guess I just don't understand why. Like, why get rid of it? Like, let's just say this isn't a Mandela effect, which I'd like to take a poll, I guess, of our listeners to see what they think. Is this a Mandela effect or not? Because there's a lot of evidence for both. And usually you don't have that with the Mandela effect. You usually have all this evidence that says this is how it's always been. You guys are mass misremembering this whole thing. But this is kind of different because there's a lot of evidence for both. So let's just go ahead and say the majority rules that it's not a Mandela effect. Okay, if it's not a Mandela effect, why do this? Why change the song to not include the 3 words? What purpose does that bring to this? Like, what value does it bring to this song?
Yeah, none. Like, not including those words takes value away from the song. Because now when I hear the song, all I can think is this sounds wrong at the end. It's not right. You know, I feel off.
Yeah. So here's why I do think it's a Mandela effect, for at least for us in the United States. Because according to what you've said, let's believe that. There are 2 different versions. I'm okay with believing that. The UK version or the European version has of the world. US doesn't. Then tell me why. I'm listening to the US version 1,000 times, I've said, right?
Yeah.
Why do I believe it says of the world? At what point did I believe that? Because I would have had to have heard at some point the European version. And now here's your answer. Because in the Mighty Ducks 2, the very end, they're singing the song around the campfire, and they say of the world. Now, Mighty Ducks 2, I'm a young, impressionable kid watching that, loving it, hear it. That's why it gets stuck in my head. So I believe, personally, that is where it got stuck in my head, is because of Mighty Ducks 2. Now, why would Mighty Ducks 2 use the European version? Is hockey like outside of what Iceland, right?
Canada.
Canada. But I mean, if we're saying the European version, I'm not familiar with like a ton of European countries that are like super, super good at hockey. Maybe I'm wrong, but
No, Russia. I don't know.
Was this like
outside of that?
Was Mighty Ducks like an international success?
I doubt that.
Let's see. I'll look it up.
I mean, I'm assuming it was successful enough that they made multiple films. But why would anybody in another country? I just don't think that movie would resonate as much as. I mean, maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah. Well, my keyboard has died, so it is all sorts of bad over on my end.
What
Scott.
is happening
it
over
is
there?
All sorts of bad, so I can't.
Have you been EMP'd?
I might have been, but
talk about the She-Hulk trailer.
Okay, yeah. Well, so let's just quickly wrap up the "We Are the Champions" thing, and then let's just briefly talk about that. That's not related to Mandela Effect, but I want to talk about it. So
I haven't seen it yet. I'm gonna react to it live on YouTube, but I've heard a lot about it.
Okay, so if you're gonna react to it live, you don't want me to lead the witness, then, right? You don't want me to talk about it.
Oh, you're fine to talk about it because I've already heard people talk about it. I'm just going to watch it, and then my instant reactions are going to be like on YouTube as I watch it.
Sure.
But you can tell me about it.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and just finish up the We Are the Champions thing. I would like to just say, if you're listening, put in the comments, text us, email us, call us, see us face to face, tell us, do you believe it's a Mandela Effect or not? I go back and forth. I think I said earlier, I believe it is a Mandela Effect. because being in the U.S., how did I hear about it? Well, I guess the only way I would have heard it is through Mighty Ducks. I don't know. I kind of feel like, but then I think about like all the other Mandela effects. Really, I don't find any evidence of what I believe being true. In this, I see it. Like I see that it does save the world. Maybe other times I came across it. I don't know. So if you don't believe this is an actual Mandela effect, let us know. We can delete the episode. No one will ever know we ever did it. But it's worth a discussion.
Yeah, it's worth a discussion for sure. Whether it is or it isn't, it's worth a discussion. Because it's interesting enough, and it's like, this is the reaction, what I'm reading, the explanation is provided by one guy on some site that Norton antivirus doesn't trust. So who knows? This guy could be a liar. I've never heard the UK version, or at least that I can, that I know. Why would I ever seek out the UK version of the song? And I don't have a vinyl record player. So I agree. The only version I've ever heard outside of Mighty Ducks is the US version, which clearly doesn't have it. But I remember it very vividly. So I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't tell you. Interested to hear what everyone else thinks. It's fun to talk about. Fun to have something that's more on our side, where we do believe that it says of the world. I just find it a little unique. Why does the U.S. always have to try to mess things up? We always try to do our own versions of things.
That's a conversation that we could talk about for 45 minutes, I think, outside of the Mandela Effect, as I descend into graininess. More and more graininess.
Yeah, you got grainy there. I don't know what happened.
What the hell is going on? It looks like I'm like an illustration. Like I'm not even a real person anymore.
It looks kind of cool though, I'll be honest.
I mean, I guess I'm filmed in freaking, I don't know, like I'm in a movie from 1980. I'm from the year this song came out. And
this is like a part of like a found film, like
it does look like that.
That's what it looks like a little bit. Not like obviously wobbling around like a found film would be.
I don't understand this. I have an Elgato face cam. I do not remember reading that this was a feature on the Elgato face cam.
Well,
so I have no idea what the hell's going on.
It is. It's a new feature. Everyone loves it. So to close out the episode, we're going to talk quickly about She-Hulk. I watched the trailer. And I'll be honest, I couldn't decide if I wanted to laugh or be absolutely upset that they thought that this was going to pass.
I can't wait. I cannot wait.
It is. So think of okay. Think of two people in the Avengers, okay?
Okay.
You have the Hulk, obviously CGI'd.
Yeah.
Still looks a lot like Mark Ruffalo, but obviously CGI'd. But pretty good CGI. Yeah. Like,
yeah,
pretty good.
Yeah.
And then you have Gamora, who is not CGI'd.
No.
But very green.
Yes.
They did not paint this actress green. They chose to go the full CGI route. And it looks terrible.
I've heard it looks so bad.
Okay, so Disney Plus is where this is going to release, right? This is a series?
Of course it is. Yeah. No one would pay to go see a She-Hulk movie in the theater. Yes, clearly this is Disney Plus.
Okay, so Disney Plus, usually 8 to 10 episodes per season, right?
Yeah.
So
I think something like that, yeah.
You're recording more than a movie. I get that. I mean, just like the hours that go into it. I mean, it's 8 to 10 hours of footage versus 2.5 for a movie. But you're telling me that you can't commit as an actor or actress to just painting yourself every day for
Well,
your role?
they had to make her giant, right?
Okay,
That's the
then, but at least when you CGI, now you're working with a base that's already the color that you need it to be. This, it is awful. I don't know enough about it. I truthfully,
I
maybe I shouldn't be
oh,
I don't
you
have anywhere
can.
to talk about it because I don't know anything about it. But a roommate of mine, when I was in high school, or sorry, not high school, roommate of mine in college, he ended up going to Hollywood and he's been credited in some movies for like working on them, not an actor. And if I remember correctly, in Kong Skull Island, his job was to like make sure that the CGI hair of Kong was like accurate, like flowing in the right direction if there was wind, um, or if there's light on it, that like the hair in certain spots was lighter where it should have been and darker. So I remember hearing stories about that and being like, "That I can't believe that was someone's job to do that." One,
Right.
incredible. Obviously, the attention to detail needed to be there. The CGI in that movie is very good,
Yeah.
but what I don't understand is that movie, Avengers, their 2.5 hours, they committed for a shorter amount of time. Why is Disney not committing for She-Hulk? If they want this to be a
Well,
success, it needs to look good, and it doesn't look
I
good.
don't. I agree. And you could have done this with practical effects if you chose the right woman. So let's just be honest. There are muscular women out there who you could have had play this role, painted her green, and the way and you know what too, the whole like she needs to be a giant thing, which I've seen some screenshots of her like being a giant, and it's like just cringe level hilarious. Like I cannot wait to watch this trailer. Um, I You could film them using camera effects to make them look like a giant. They do this in wrestling all the time. I mean, they build these guys in wrestling as like 7 foot tall, and they might not be. But if you stand them next to somebody who's short, they're gonna look tall. So you can like angle the camera to make them look tall. I mean, this is like basic film 101. You can do this.
They do it with
Versus
Gandalf in the Lord of the Rings in The Hobbit.
there you go. Yep. Versus, oh, well, let's just completely throw the computer person in there, which is going to look like crap in 10 years. I mean, if you think this looks bad now, imagine watching She-Hulk in 10 years. It's going to be unwatchable. You're going to be laughing at it. It's going to be so bad.
Yeah, and
But I
so,
don't know that.
uh,
Do they expect this to be successful?
I mean, I don't know. They put a lot of money
It's
into it, I think.
She-Hulk.
Well, so here's my thing: I don't think it would have been as bad. I think looking at it for what it is for her, like it's not great. Like the actress I know nothing about. She might do a great job acting as the She-Hulk and as whatever the She-Hulk's human name is. I don't know. I have never
I
read,
don't either.
but whoever it is, she might do a fantastic job and might have been the right person for it based off of skills. The body type, you're right. They could have picked somebody else if they wanted to have the more physical
Yeah.
effects, but the CGI is awful for her. But I think what makes it even worse is that the Hulk is in the show too. They're standing side by side, and you see how good one is and how terrible the other one is. So it's almost like they are like, oh, let's just like, I don't know, the same code probably for the CGI Hulk. They just like copy paste into She-Hulk and then have Mark Ruffalo just record a new voice, and they just use that, and they just didn't want to take the time with her. I don't know. We'll hear from you in your live.
Oh yeah, I cannot wait. I'm gonna shred this thing apart if it's really bad. I'm super excited to do it.
So,
And Also, by the way, I think it's fair to say this: Edward Norton is a better Hulk than Mark Ruffalo.
Okay, so we obviously have gotten way far off the Mandela Effect one, but
It's all
that's
right.
okay. I would agree. I thought that his was really, really good. Eric Bana is not good. Um, his story was more like a love story to me than anything else. His version, I thought Edward Norton's version was fantastic. Um,
Yes.
you know, but to be honest, Mark Ruffalo, his Hulk does fit better in with the Avengers the way that that movie was cast. I don't think that the way they shot Edward Norton's Hulk would have done as well because it would have fought for like a top spot in like a favorite character, and Disney really needed to bank on uh, Robert Downey Jr. and Iron Man being the lead.
This is true.
And I think that
Edward Norton, far superior actor to damn near everybody in those
he
Marvel movies.
he's a good actor, and I don't know that
It's incredible.
I don't know that he would have had a problem saying like I'll play second to him. Like I mean, he was second to Brad Pitt in Fight Club.
True.
He's probably been second to a lot of people. I don't think he would have had a problem with it. I just think it would have on screen been like, well, who's the leader of this group really? And I don't want to make it sound like Mark Ruffalo is like not capable
Oh,
of
you can
leading a
make it sound
movie.
like that. No, he's beta. He's 100% a beta male. He's also
uh,
psychotic. He's like psychotic.
uh,
Listen to him. Go read his tweets. He's psychotic, and he's total beta energy. I mean, Mark Ruffalo walks up to you. Are you afraid? Are you like clutching your wife, afraid that she'll leave you for him? No, of course not. You're
but
yeah.
are you doing
Take
that
him
with
out to
Edward
lunch.
Norton?
Oh yeah, because Edward Norton he could act his way out. Edward Norton. Have you ever seen Primal Fear? Oh my gosh, American History X. These
Mm.
movies and Edward Norton's pretty jacked in that one. That's probably a controversial movie these days. That is, I'm telling you, yes, I'd be more afraid if Edward Norton. Okay, who would I be afraid that my wife would cheat on me more with? Edward Norton. She'd go to lunch with Mark Ruffalo.
Maybe she has already.
Maybe. I don't know.
We've gotten so far away from our topic here, but I'm
That's right.
interested. You're doing that live. You said
Yeah.
okay.
I
So
think tomorrow. Well, you know what? I'm not going to do it live. I'm going to record it and
okay.
post it.
Well,
This is not long
everyone
enough to do it live.
tune in to Luda Carson Plays to watch that on YouTube. I'm excited to see what your opinions are after you see the trailer. For anyone
That's a
else,
show we should review together. You should
no,
get Disney
because
Plus back just to watch.
are you gonna get Disney Plus back just to watch She-Hulk?
I'm getting it to watch Obi-Wan so I can talk about it.
Mistakes.
I know. I
Anyway,
don't want to do it.
anyway, it's been great chatting through our most recent Mandela Effect of the We Are the Champions. We look forward to next week's episode, which we are not going to reveal to you at this time, mainly because we don't know what it is either yet.
We'll figure it out.
But we'll figure it out. So we're excited. Thank you to everyone listening. Thank you to everyone who tunes in. We appreciate it. It's fun for us. Even if no one listened, we'd still do it because it's a blast.
That's right.
But we appreciate all of those who listen and those who give their feedback. I think we're still having some audio issues. I'll be honest, Scott. I'm trying to figure those out, but it's getting better.
I can hear you.
No, I'm saying like when we like the recording, like when we post it on YouTube.
Really?
Yeah, on YouTube it comes across really clean. Both of us are really like the volume is level. But
Okay.
on the podcasting apps, for some reason, my voice seems to be higher than yours. So I'm still trying to
That's
figure it out.
strange.
I'm hoping that this new recording application
Yeah.
we're using will also help with it. So it is what it is. But that's all we have. I don't have anything else. Scott, any final words?
No, yes, this is very fun. I like this. You know what? I think people do watch. And they do listen. I bet we have so many listeners we don't even know. We might be very famous in like Japan.
We could be, but the analytics say otherwise.
They lie. They lie. You don't listen to the analytics. They fake news.
That's fair.
Fake news.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. We appreciate it. We'll catch you next week.
Bye, everybody.